The airport buzzed with the usual chaos, boarding announcements echoing, rolling suitcases clicking against tile, and people impatiently shifting in the long security lines. Among the sea of travelers stood 27-year-old Maya Thompson, dressed simply in jeans, sneakers, and a navy hoodie pulled over her braided hair. To everyone else, she looked like just another young black woman heading out for a trip. No one could have guessed who she really was. As she waited in line at Gate 7B, Maya kept her gaze calm but observant. She wasn't just catching a flight to DC. She was on official business. Her badge, hidden deep in her carry-on, bore the seal of the Federal Aviation Administration. But today, her role wasn't to be revealed. Not yet. The boarding line inched forward. Maya watched how the gate agents interacted with passengers. One smiled warmly at a white businessman. Another joked with a young couple. But when it was Maya's turn, the atmosphere changed instantly. The lead gate agent, a woman with sharp eyes and a stiff smile, looked Maya up and down with thinly veiled disdain. "Passport and boarding pass," she snapped. Without a greeting, Maya handed them over, keeping her tone even. "Here you go." The agent snatched them from her hand, muttering something under her breath. She stared at the passport longer than needed, then huffed. "This doesn't look right." Maya's heart thumped, but not from fear. She was trained for this. She said nothing, and then, in one shocking motion, the agent ripped the passport in half. Gasps erupted behind Maya. "Security!" the agent barked. "We've got a problem here." Maya clenched her jaw, calm as ever. They had no idea who they were messing with. Two airport security guards rushed over as Maya stood still, her torn passport in the agent's hand, fluttering like a flag of humiliation. Passengers pulled out their phones, recording the unfolding scene. The gate agent's voice grew louder, full of unearned authority. "She's trying to board with a fake passport. Probably stolen," she said, holding the torn pieces like evidence in a crime scene. Maya's eyes stayed steady. "That passport was valid, until you destroyed it." The agent scoffed. "Oh, please, don't act like you're somebody. I can tell a fake when I see one." The guards flanked Maya, their hands near their belts. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." Maya raised a brow. "On what grounds?" the agent sneered. "On suspicion of fraud. You people think you can fool anyone." Those two words, "you people," hung in the air like poison. Maya saw the slight flinch in one guard's eyes. Even he realized it had crossed a line. Still, they motioned for her to step aside. Calmly, Maya lifted her carry-on and moved to the side. She didn't argue, didn't yell, because this wasn't just about her trip anymore. It was about proving a point. As they led her to a side room, the crowd buzzed with mixed reactions. Some murmured in disgust, others in support. No one knew what was about to unfold. The gate agent smirked, already thinking she'd handled another problem. But Maya? She was just getting started. Inside the interrogation room, Maya calmly reached into her bag. Time to flip the script. Inside the cold, sterile holding room, Maya sat quietly as the two security guards stood awkwardly by the door. One of them, Officer Daniels, looked unsure, almost nervous. The other, Officer Hale, kept a hard stance but kept glancing at Maya's calm demeanor. Maya unzipped her carry-on and pulled out a slim black folder. With precision, she opened it and removed a government-issued ID card. She held it up. "My name is Maya Thompson, FAA Senior Inspector, ID 770-2019. I'm here on assignment for an unannounced inspection of this airport's gate and boarding protocols." Both officers froze. Daniels stepped forward slowly, taking the card and inspecting it. His eyes widened. He quickly tapped on his radio. "Dispatch, I need a verification on an FAA credential. Urgent." Maya sat back, composed. "You're going to want to call your supervisor." Outside, the gate agent, still gloating at the desk, had no clue what was happening. She scrolled through her phone, grinning at a text she sent to her co-worker, handled another one. Smitch. Back in the room, the radio crackled. "Confirmed. FAA Inspector Thompson is active and authorized. Repeat, active and authorized. She's listed under surprise inspection protocol." Officer Hale's face dropped. Daniels looked apologetic. "Ma'am, we're sorry, we didn't know," Maya interrupted, still calm. But she should have known. Gate agents are required to review official IDs, not destroy them based on assumptions. The air turned heavy. Daniels nodded. "We'll alert the terminal director immediately." Maya stood. "Good. Because I'm about to file a full incident report, and this airport's reputation is about to go under federal review." As Maya exited the holding room, she was accompanied by both guards, only now their posture had changed. No longer confrontational, they walked behind her like silent escorts. Back at Gate 7B, the crowd hadn't dispersed. Several passengers were still recording, whispering about the passport girl. The gate agent looked up, her smug expression faltering when she saw Maya walking back, confident, tall, unharmed. Then she noticed the badge clipped to Maya's shirt. Her smirk disappeared. "You," she blurted. "I told you to stay in the holding room." Maya stopped just short of the desk and smiled. "And I told your staff who I was. You ignored it. Now, let's talk about proper protocol, something you clearly need retraining on." Passengers gasped. One man shouted, "Wait, she's FAA?" Another added, "That agent tore up her passport. I saw the whole thing." Maya turned to the crowd. "Yes, I am a federal inspector with the FAA, and I came here today to observe professionalism and adherence to federal standards. Instead, I encountered racism, assumption, and outright violation of federal law." Phones zoomed in. This was no longer a travel inconvenience, it was a reckoning. The terminal manager arrived, breathless and sweating. "Inspector Thompson, we didn't know. You should have," she said firmly. "You will receive a full report. And until further notice, boarding operations at Gate 7B are suspended." The agent stammered, "I didn't know. You didn't look like what?" Maya asked sharply. The silence was brutal. Maya turned to the cameras. "Let this be a lesson. Never judge a traveler by their skin. Some of us carry more power than you can see." The video of Maya's confrontation went viral within hours. Hashtags like #InspectorInDisguise and #GateAgentExposed trended across social media. News outlets picked it up. FAA inspector mistaken for fraud, teaches gate agent a federal lesson. The airline scrambled for damage control. PR teams sent rush statements about regret and reviewing staff conduct, but the public wasn't buying it. Maya, meanwhile, filed her official report that same evening. The language was direct, detailed, and damning. Back at the airport, the gate agent was placed on immediate administrative leave. Her expression when she was escorted from the terminal matched the one she gave Maya. Except now, the humiliation was hers. Maya received dozens of emails and messages, black travelers thanking her, pilots praising her professionalism, and civil rights lawyers offering support. She ignored the fame. Her focus was on accountability. In Washington, the FAA headquarters summoned the airline's executive team. Maya was asked to sit in on the session. Inside the boardroom, a senior FAA director addressed the airline CEO. "Your gate agent violated federal document handling laws and civil rights regulations. Inspector Thompson was well within her authority to suspend operations." The CEO rubbed his forehead. "We understand. We're cooperating fully." Maya leaned forward. "You also owe the traveling public more than a press release. You owe them real changes, diversity training, protocol refreshers, and new leadership at that terminal." There was silence. Then the CEO nodded. "We'll start today." Later, as Maya walked out of headquarters, she knew something had shifted. She didn't just expose a gate agent, she ignited a conversation. And this was only the beginning. Maya's inbox overflowed with messages from strangers, many with painful stories of airport discrimination. One woman wrote, "They made me miss my flight because I looked suspicious. Thank you for standing up." Another wrote, "You spoke for all of us. It was overwhelming, but Maya read every single one." She sat at her kitchen table late one night, laptop open, sipping tea. The screen displayed a draft of a letter she'd been working on for days, an open letter to the airline industry, the FAA, and the American public. She titled it, "Traveling While Black, a Federal Inspector's Perspective." In it, she didn't just describe what happened to her. She laid out systemic problems, statistics, and solutions. She ended the letter with one simple line, "Greater than we don't need apologies, we need policy." When she hit publish, it spread like wildfire. The letter was shared by civil rights leaders, celebrities, even airline CEOs. One major carrier publicly invited Maya to help lead a new diversity oversight initiative. Within a week, Maya was invited to speak at a national transportation summit in Atlanta. Standing before industry executives, lawmakers, and media, she said, "Greater than I wasn't mistaken for a criminal. I was profiled, but I didn't lose my power. I revealed it." Thunderous applause followed. For Maya, this was never about revenge. It was about respect. She closed her speech by calling for a nationwide gate protocol review. Because the gate is more than just where we board a plane, it's where too many of us are denied dignity. The industry was listening now. Weeks passed, and just when the media buzz began to cool, a surprising interview aired on a morning talk show. The disgraced gate agent, Vanessa Kirkland, sat opposite a soft-spoken host, clearly uncomfortable. Vanessa shifted in her seat. "I didn't know she was someone important." The host raised an eyebrow. But if she hadn't been an inspector, would that behavior still be okay? Vanessa hesitated. "Look, I've worked at that airport for years. We get so many people trying to cheat the system. But you assumed Maya was cheating?" Silence. Finally, Vanessa sighed. "I guess I did, and I regret it." The host leaned in. "Did you ever ask why?" Vanessa looked down. "I think I've lived in a bubble. My judgment was clouded by assumptions." Her apology wasn't enough for many, but it was a start. Maya watched the clip from her phone during a layover. She wasn't angry, just thoughtful. Later that week, Vanessa sent a handwritten letter to Maya. In it, she didn't make excuses. She didn't beg for forgiveness. She just said, "Greater than you reminded me what dignity looks like when someone else tries to strip it away." Maya didn't respond publicly, but she folded the letter, slid it into her folder of official documents, and added a sticky note. "Change begins with recognition." 3 months after the incident, Maya walked through a different airport terminal, this time not in disguise. She was welcomed by airline executives, airport administrators, and young women of color who had come to see her speak. Under her leadership, the FAA rolled out a new federal policy, the Gate Conduct Accountability Act, requiring bodycam recordings for gate agents, regular training on implicit bias, and traveler complaint hotlines. The agent certification process was revamped. From now on, gate agents had to pass cultural sensitivity modules and legal protocol exams, no exceptions. Maya became a consultant across various airports. Her mission wasn't just internal reform, it was public reassurance. At one training session, she stood in front of 40 new gate agents. "Your job isn't just to check boarding passes," she said. "It's to welcome people, all people. From the moment they step to your desk, they should feel safe and seen." One trainee raised her hand. "What would you do if someone disrespects you at the gate?" Maya smiled softly. "I'd hold them accountable. But never forget who you are in that moment." Later, as she walked past a boarding gate, a young girl tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mom, that's the passport lady!" Maya looked over and waved. The girl beamed. "She looks like me," and that made all the difference. Almost a year had passed since the day Maya's passport was torn. Now, she stood at the very same gate 7B, renovated, refreshed, and renamed Thompson Terminal, a tribute announced by the FAA in a surprise ceremony. Her mother, a retired pilot, stood beside her. "You always were the quiet one. Who knew you'd make this much noise?" Maya laughed. Sometimes silence is the loudest weapon. The crowd of press and airport staff applauded as the curtain dropped on the new terminal sign. In bold silver letters, it read, "Dedicated to integrity, equality, and courage." The moment was surreal. Not long after, a young black woman approached Maya shyly, holding her resume. "I'm applying to be a gate agent. You're the reason I believe I can—" Maya accepted the paper, smiling. "Then make sure you hold the gate open for others, too." As the sun set behind the glass windows, Maya boarded her flight, not as a mystery inspector, not as a trending story, but as a symbol. A woman who turned humiliation into legislation, discrimination into transformation, a ripped passport into a gateway for justice. And now, every traveler who walked through Gate 7B would know this was more than just an airport. This was where change took flight.